Hey, what to do, Sports World, and welcome to the Real Untouchable Podcast with me, Ray Diggs. I got a great segment for you all. I want to talk about the college football playoffs, man. And what's gonna happen next, man. It's about to be a lot of chaos in the college football playoff rankings. And as you all know, this right here will be the last one this next coming up week. But listen, let's talk about the one from this past week. Now I'm gonna give you all my college football predictions, and then I'm gonna give you all the real college football predictions. Okay, but before I get started on this segment, hey, make sure y'all hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button. And if you got any feedback about this segment, just make sure you all put it in the comment section. But let's talk about this thing. We're gonna talk about now. I'm gonna give you all my college football rankings and what I thought it would be, and I'm gonna explain to you why I gave these rankings. Okay, the number one team. Well, I'm gonna start off with number 10. I started off number 10. I said it would be Ole Miss. Okay, Ole Miss, they have been great this season, and that's the reason why I said they will be number 10. I said number 9 would be the Missouri Tigers. Okay, I feel like Missouri has played a hell of a season. Okay, they are 10-2. Okay, as in Ole Miss as well. Ole Miss is 10-2. Um, and now people ask me why didn't I put? Oh, well, I'm gonna go to my number 8. Number 8, I had Ohio State. Why did I have Ohio State? Ohio State, I feel like Ohio State was number 8 because of the strength of schedule and the teams that they had faced. Yes, they faced Notre Dame. Yes, they faced Penn State. But who else they faced in between that? Okay, they did not face not one other ranked team in college football. So that is the reason why I had them. And when now that I look back and I'm looking at Notre Dame is a 3-loss Notre Dame. So how good is Notre Dame? Okay, like how good is this team? So that win right there, really, yes, they went on the road and won that game, and yes, they was at home against Penn State. So that is the reason why I had them dropping from number 2 to number 8. Okay, Alabama, I had Alabama at number 7. Now Alabama is going to the SEC championship game. They have a chance to improve on this number 7 ranking. But the reason why I got them as number 7 is because they did not beat Texas. That is the reason why. Now, is they one of the 4 best teams? We'll get to that later on in this. But right now, I have them as the number 17. Okay, let's talk about number 6, the Texas Longhorns. Okay, Texas will be in the title game as well against Oklahoma State. They got a chance to maybe, Oklahoma State is not the best team. They're ranked like number 21, so Texas is really living off of the Alabama win, the second game of the season, because they lost to Oklahoma. Now they're gonna play against Oklahoma State, in which Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma now. Now that right there could help them, but Oklahoma State has a 2-loss, 3-loss Oklahoma State. So how big is that win in the Big 10 in the Big 12 championship game? At number 5, I got Oregon. Oregon is probably playing some of the best football right now, and they will play tonight against the Washington Huskies, which they will be up there on my list as well. So that's going to really solidify them. If Oregon can win against Washington, I got a feeling that's going to be automatically they will be in the college football playoff. So that can be decided tonight if they can defeat this Washington team. At number 4, right now I got Florida State. Florida State is playing in the ACC championship game. They defeated LSU. But is Florida State one of the 4 best teams? I just don't think they are. Without Jordan Travis, they are not one of the 4 best teams. And that is what we get here. Right now, I got them at number 4. Same thing, the same place that, well, I'll get to that in a minute. But I got them at number 4. Okay. Number 3, I got the Washington Huskies. Like I said, they will be playing against Oregon later on tonight. One of those 2 teams is going to lock up one of the 4 college football playoff slots tonight. It will be locked up tonight. So Washington, they have a chance to pretty much stay where they at, or they'll drop. But they have a chance to lock it in tonight if they can win against Oregon. Now, Washington, this is where I say Washington is going to have an argument. Because they're going to look at it like this. Okay, we beat them. They come back and beat us. So we're tied 1-1. But the committee is going to say they are the Pac-12 champions. So Washington, if they lose tonight, they would pick the worst time to lose a football game. I would have rather lose earlier in the season against Oregon and then beat them now. But this right here is going to be, and to be honest, with the way that the odds makers got this, they got them as a 9-point favorite, meaning that they think Oregon is going to run Washington off the field. Do I think that? I don't know. It was a close game early in the season. I feel like Oregon coach made a lot of bad decisions. Washington, they hadn't been looking too good, but they just been finding ways to win. Maybe they would find a way to win again. But we never know. We never know what's going to happen between these two teams. Okay. And okay, the number 2 team, I got Michigan. Michigan defeats Ohio State. So they are and Michigan is one of the 4 best teams. They just are. Win or lose, this team right here is one of the best teams, and I think they're gonna slap Oregon around on the field. I think that Oregon, not Oregon, Iowa. I think they're gonna slap Iowa around on the field. Iowa is just one of those teams I just don't have no faith in. Any team that scores 10 points and 13 points and win a game, you're not gonna beat one of these teams like a Georgia, Washington, or a team like that can actually score. So I got Michigan at number 2. Number 1, I got Georgia. Georgia's defending national champions. They are the best team in college football, I think. They're riding a 29-game winning streak. This team right here is primed again for another push at another college football playoff and national championship. Now, let me ask this question. Alabama, Georgia. Who wins this game? If Georgia loses, do Georgia belongs in the college football playoff? I'll give y'all my answer soon. But this right here is going to be a lot of chaos in the next college football rankings right now. Okay, you got Georgia at 12-0, Ohio State 11-1, Michigan 12-0, Washington, Florida State, they both 12-0, Oregon, they're 11-1, Texas 11-1, Alabama 11-1. Now Louisville is 10-2. If Louisville knocks off Florida State, what happens there? I don't think a 2-loss Louisville will get in the college football playoffs, though. I just don't. Okay, now Alabama pretty much was saved in their last game against Auburn, but you got to think about it. Auburn gave who a good matchup? They almost beat Georgia. Georgia beat them 27-20. So we can't just say, oh, because they didn't look good against this team, because Alabama didn't look good against Auburn, here Georgia didn't look good against them as well. So you can go back and forth when you talk about these two teams right here. And this is a rivalry game. Everybody's saying, "Oh man, but Georgia and Auburn is a rivalry game." It ain't like Alabama and Auburn though. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. Now the college football rankings came out and they had Georgia number 1, Michigan number 2, Washington number 3, Florida State number 4, Oregon number 5. All of my top 5 was correct. This is where they went away and they kind of got me when they said that Ohio State only fell from 2 to 5, 2 to 6. Okay, how's that? They said strength of schedule. To be honest with you, that strength of schedule, that's a bunch of BS. I don't know what to take with the strength of schedule right now when it comes down to all of this other stuff that they're talking about. Honestly, now you got Ohio State at number 6, you got Texas number 7, Alabama number 8. Okay, they're saying that they're putting Texas ahead of Alabama because of the head-to-head, which was in week 2. Okay, why didn't Ohio State fall down to number 8? Now, why didn't Ohio State fall down to number 8? I mean, we're looking back at this Texas team. This Texas team is a really good team. They're 11-1. Okay, Alabama lose to them in week 2, which they were still breaking in a new quarterback. Then you keep them at number 10. You knock them from number 2 to number 10. So you telling me that you knocking Ohio State from number 2 to number 6? Is Ohio State one of the 4 best teams? Maybe. I don't know. I can't say they are. But I will tell you all this. The 4 best teams that I think are the 4 best teams in college football, I think that Georgia is one of the 4 best teams. I think Alabama is one of the 4 best teams. I think that Oregon is one of the 4 best teams. And I think that Michigan is one of the 4 best teams in college football. Now, can you throw Ohio State in there at number 5? Easily, you can throw Ohio State right there at number 5. You can throw Oregon. I mean, not Oregon. You can throw Ohio State right there. You can throw Texas right there. And you can also put Washington right there. Those are the 4. Those right there are the 7 best teams in college football, I think. I think Florida State may be the 8th best team. And the reason why is because of their quarterback. You need a quarterback. Think about it. Now, if you're going to hold this against Alabama, losing to Texas while they're breaking in a quarterback that was starting his second game of the season. Now, he lose against a really good Texas team, and then you guys moved them from number 2, which they was number 2. Alabama was number 3 at the time of the loss against Texas. They lost, and then you moved them down to number 10. But you move Ohio State from number 2 to number 6. Make it make sense to me. I think the committee doesn't watch football. That's just my opinion. I think they sit in there and they watch highlights. You see, because one of the committee members said the reason why the reason why they think Oregon is one of the 4 best teams is because Bo Nix is completing 78% of his passes. What the hell do that got to do with them being a 4 best team? Are they complete all around? Oregon, all he had to say was I just feel like Oregon is one of the 4 best teams, and nobody would have argued with him. But you saying that the reason why is because Bo Nix is completing 78% of his passes? Who is he playing against? Is he playing against a Georgia? Is he playing against a Michigan? Is he playing against Ohio State? Is he playing against the Texas? Is he playing against the Alabama? No, he's not. Now, he played against Washington, in which he lost the game. But you can't say, I wouldn't have never said that is the reason why I am putting this team here is because a quarterback is completing 78% of his passes. That tells me that you may be only looking at stats. You haven't really watched a lot of football. And that's what I think the committee is. I think the committee is a bunch of BS anyway. I've always thought this. But if they don't put in the 4 best teams, and this ain't about who deserves it. Do Florida State deserve it? Yes, they're undefeated. But are they one of the 4 best teams? They just not. When you don't have a quarterback, and say like you put them in, I say you put them in at number 4. They goes against number 1 Georgia. Georgia slaps them around, kind of like how they did TCU. Then what? You all just put them in because they deserved it, and you didn't put in one of the 4 best teams. And that is the reason why I'm happy that they're going to the 12-man playoff, or 8 to 12-man playoff, because that is what it should be. That is what it should be. Because these teams right this year, it's going to be chaos if all of these teams win. Which if Alabama beats Georgia, that is where everything is going to change. Because do you still put Georgia in? My opinion, Georgia still makes the college football playoff. Win or lose, Georgia makes the college football playoff, and this is the reason why. First of all, they are the 2-time defending national champions. They hadn't lost a game since 2 years ago in the SEC championship game. So are they one of the 4 best teams? Heck yeah, they're one of the 4 best teams. That is why I will put them in that. That's why I will put them in the college football playoff, win or lose. Do the SEC champion if Alabama beats Georgia. Do you put the SEC champions in there? Yes, you have to put the SEC champions in the college football playoff. You just have to. It is the hardest division. It's the most competitive. This is the conference in college football that everybody knows it's very hard to win. So if you win the SEC, you 100% have to be in the college football playoff. Do you put in the Pac-12 champion? If Washington loses to Oregon, I think whoever wins out of Washington, Oregon definitely gets in. Michigan is undefeated. They have played. They beat Ohio State. Yes, they will get in. Those are the 4 best teams, I think. Now, if Alabama loses and Oregon, you're going to put in all those teams. I still say that is when it gets sneaky. Do you put in Ohio State, a team that didn't play in their conference championship, over a team that's Texas, that if they win the Big 12, do you put them in over Ohio State? I think you do. I think you can't. I don't think you cannot win your conference and still get into the college football playoff unless you are Georgia that's haven't lost a game in 2 years. You have to put Georgia in. I think they're exempt, and they are one of the 4 best teams. I don't think Ohio State really is one of the 4 best teams. That's just my opinion. I think Texas, you got to put Texas in now, and that's just the way I feel about it. So if Georgia beats Alabama, they knocked Alabama out of it. It would be Georgia, Michigan, the Pac-12 champions, whoever win the Pac-12, and it's going to be out of Ohio State, Texas, who gets in. And I just got a feeling, knowing the committee and knowing how much they love Ohio State, it won't surprise me if they still put Ohio State in there. That's just what I feel. And honestly, it wouldn't hurt me if Oregon, depending on how this Oregon Washington game goes, if Oregon beats Washington by 3, do you still put both of those? Do you and Georgia beats Alabama? Let's just say Georgia beats Alabama, Michigan beats Iowa, Oregon beat Washington by 3, or beat them by 2, or by 1. I say by under 5. Okay, so you got, and then Oregon would be in. That would be the third team in. Okay, do you put Florida State in? I think Florida State is going to make it if they win the ACC. I think that the committee is going to put them in. They're going to get their ass beat. They're going to get beat down. But I think that the committee will still put this team in. That's just my opinion. And I think they're making a big mistake putting this Florida State team in. But if I had to choose, I would put Florida State to the side. I would go out of Texas, Ohio State, and Washington. Washington only got 1 loss, and they lost that game. If they lose this game by 3, I still think Washington, I would definitely put Washington in over Florida State and Texas and Ohio State. That's just my opinion. I think they deserve it because they have been playing they've been playing really, really good football all season. They beat Oregon once, and I think that they got a pretty good strength of schedule as well. And that is the reason why I would still put this Washington team in the playoff. Okay. But if Alabama beats Georgia, that's when all the chaos is going to start, because it's going to start with who gets in. Do you still put in Georgia, or do Alabama take their position? I still feel that win or lose, Georgia should be going to the college football playoff. That's just my opinion. And they have been the most dominant team the last 2 years, and that is the reason why I feel this way. And it's not, and it don't got nothing to do with how you doing Florida State, with how they're doing Florida State. Florida State deserves. Oh yeah, Florida State, we feel like they deserve. Well, are they one of the 4 best teams? I can sit here and clearly say that Georgia is one of the 2 best teams in college football. It's either Georgia, Michigan, or Michigan, Georgia. But I think those are the 2 best teams in college football, and everybody else after that, it can be Oregon, it can be Alabama, it can be Texas, it can be Ohio State, it can be Washington, it can be Florida State. But I know who the 2 best teams in college football, and it resides down there in Georgia, and one resides right there in Michigan, Ann Arbor. Those are the 2 best teams in college football. But hey, man, y'all let me know what y'all think about this segment. Let me know what you all think the college football playoffs is going to look like. What's going to happen if Alabama beats Georgia, and what's going to happen if Oregon beats Washington, and maybe it can be helped out, because if Florida State loses to Louisville, that pretty much helps the committee out. That helps the committee out a lot. If Washington beats Oregon, if Georgia beats Alabama, and Michigan beats, if Georgia wins, Michigan wins, Washington wins, and I think honestly, if Florida State wins, they are in. I think all of those undefeated teams will get in. That's just my opinion on the college football playoff. I think that's the most simplest scenario that can happen, that can make the committee be like, you know what? Thank God, thank you, big guy, because we did not have to go through all the BS of trying to pick the 4 best teams, because the 4 best teams prevailed in their college football playoff. In their conference championship game. All right, but y'all let me know what y'all think about this segment. Let me know what you all think, who you all think is the 4 best teams, or the 6 best teams, or even the 8 best team in college football. And also, let me all know, this right here, I'm telling you, this right here is more chaos this season than I've seen in college football playoff rankings in a very, very long time. But listen, we're getting ready to head into the conference championship week. What you all think? And I'm gonna give you all my prediction on the Oregon versus Washington game. I got a feeling that Oregon is going to pull it off. I think Oregon is going to win the game. I don't know how they're going to win, but I think they're going to get their revenge on Washington, and they're going to revenge what happened in Washington up there in Seattle earlier this season. And I think they will get their get back in Las Vegas tonight against this very, very, very good team in Michael Penix and this Washington Huskies team. But hey, now let me know what you all think. Give me you all prediction on what you all think who will win the Pac-12 championship game. I will be on here again later on today, and I will be giving you all my predictions on the Alabama versus Georgia game, and who I think is going to win that game as well. But hey, thank y'all again for tuning in to another great segment of the Real Untouchable Podcast with me, Ray Diggs. Hey y'all, peace. and have a blessed, blessed, blessed Friday, y'all. Peace.